Hi there, Year 2 agents. Mr. Yates here at Rowledge HQ. This is a very quick PowerPoint, and it's just a few ideas of what you could include, or a style that you could include in a poem you might write for Miss Oliver's poetry competition. If you want to take part in this and get your poem into a fantastic book, which is going to be a collection of poetry from this strange time, but you're not sure where to begin, I have a couple of ideas that might give you a little bit of structure. If you've already got your own ideas or you've already started, then please go with those. These aren't meant to be the only way to do things, but these are two styles of poems that I find useful if I'm not sure where to start. So the first type of poem that I want to talk to you about today is an acrostic poem. Acrostic poems, I think, are a really good starting point if you're not sure where to begin your poem, because what you can do is you can write a word moving down the edge of your page near a margin, and that'll spell out the word there. So this one actually spells out the word acrostic, and then we try and write a poem by writing sentences or words that come off each of those letters. So it can be read across in the verses of a poem, or down to tell you the word which kind of is the subject of the poem. So here is an acrostic poem. I'm just going to talk to you quickly about the features. The first letter of each line spells out the poem's theme vertically. Can you see this one? It's about an ice cream. You can use poetic devices like alliteration and similes in these poems. They can rhyme, but they generally don't, and you don't need to use these devices as long as the kind of theme that you're getting across comes out really clearly from your acrostic poem. You'll notice that the lines can be different lengths. There isn't the same rhythm that we would normally expect in a poem. And I had to think about how this might look for you writing yours. So I took the word lockdown, and I've written it down the edge of the page here. And I started to think about which letters I could look at to try and think what would be the content of each line of my poem. So my first one, I thought of a word that began with L, and I said laughter and playing in the garden, because although it's not always fun and there's not been always been laughs in my house, there has been quite a lot outside when that weather has been lovely. And then that made me think of the one for O, actually, outside enjoying the sunny weather. So both of these lines are about what I've been up to in lockdown, but they also start with the correct letters so that it spells lockdown down the side. And again, this is the last one I've thought of. I thought C might be useful for calls on Zoom to Nanny and Pops, because my little boys, Nanny and Pops, that's Mrs. Yates's mum and dad, they live up in Yorkshire in Hull. So there's been lots of calls on Zoom to them, which have been keeping my boys busy. Now, if I wanted to complete this poem, I'd then have to think of a letter beginning with K, D, O, W, and N, and then I would have my vertical word lockdown, and then the kind of subject of each line going across there. That's one type of poem you could use if you're not sure where to begin your poem. Another type of poem that you could write is a shape poem. Now, shape poems are brilliant because essentially they form the shape of what they're about. So usually they're describing things. It usually describes an object, person, or animal, but this is a little bit different because it's going to sort of describe our experience of a time. And the special thing about a shape poem is that the words of the poem form the shape of an object. They don't have to rhyme. They can use full stops and capital letters just like normal sentences. They often use alliteration or similes if you want to use those. And I've put a picture of a rainbow here at the bottom because I thought actually the rainbow has been such an important symbol of this lockdown that might be a good shape to create my shape poem in, because I thought that kind of represents this time we've had. So I had a go. And you'll see here, I've done it on a darker piece of paper. I've tried to write in the rainbow shape, and I've actually tried to use the rainbow colours on the computer when I was doing this. So this is my poem, playing outside with my brother. This is the things I asked Sam that he enjoys about lockdown. I made some notes yesterday. Playing outside with my brother, enjoying splashing in the paddling pool, missing my friends and missing school. And he said he's done lots of baking and making, decorating and painting. So those are some of the things that he's been up to, but because I've presented them in this way, I've created a shape poem. And again, it doesn't have to rhyme. It can use the capital letters and full stops that you would normally have in a sentence, but I've placed it in the shape of a rainbow to represent this time. And so there we go. a couple of different ways to cite a poem if you want to. Remember, this is an optional challenge from Miss Oliver, but I'm sure that it would be amazing if you could get your work into the special book that she's going to have published for our school library. Try your best if you want to give it a go, and remember, dive on into that learning pit. You might get halfway through and think, oh, I'm not sure where I'm going with this, but if you keep on going, I'm sure you'll create amazing poems. Over and out.